All right, but gun to your head though, like what were some of the good things about Hitler if you had to say something?
There's so many.
He had good aim when he killed himself. Look at him that.
Nice.
He had lovely paintings.
This isn't John's first interview. He's been on the radio recently.
Have you ruined
They
the
asked you
mustache
that on
style?
KFMA?
He definitely ruined the fucking mustache style for generations.
And good, and you know what?
They
It
were like, how
wasn't
the fuck do you like motherfucking Hitler, bitch?
It wasn't a good style to begin with.
So, whoa, dude, chill out.
Charlie Chaplin was
Kids can hear this.
You know the story?
Fucking.
Yeah, wasn't he like a pedo or something?
No, I thought he... Oh, maybe he did know Hitler.
Yeah, he was fucking insane.
Yeah. Charlie Chaplin. Oh.
I've still got.
We're talking about the other. We're talking about the other mustache.
There's no getting away from it now.
There never was.
Okay. All right.
All right, started down to brass
We're
tacks.
good. We got this. We're gonna go with the. We're gonna go with this outline real quick. That way I don't.
Yeah,
You know,
no, it's fine.
whatever. And
Yeah,
then
we
you
can
know,
ramble.
whatever happens, dude.
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
fucking. When did you guys actually get together as a band, man?
That was so long
As
ago.
Lion Fire, it was 2000. Well, we started the band in 2002. That's when God Awful broke up, but we didn't start getting active till 2003. I want to say.
Yeah, we
And our
used to
first
be.
tour was 2004.
We used to be a band called God Awful.
Yeah, I was living with
And-
you at the time.
Boy, were you ever.
Yeah.
Me, Erica, and you were living together.
Yep.
And,
Yeah, we kicked out our singer, who was my cousin, and then we got Colin in the band. And then Esteban moved in with them.
I started hanging out
And
at
then
practices
we
while they were practicing without the
Fighting,
singer for a
yeah.
minute. And then,
Yeah.
So you guys were God Awful. Well, God Awful was who?
It was me, John, and Brian for a minute. Brian was later, right? He was
Yeah, I
towards
wasn't
the
an
end.
original.
It was originally me and John started the band when I was still in high school, right? Was I
Yeah,
still in high school?
you were 17.
Yeah, I was 17.
And I was
years
18.
old.
he's only 17.
It was
Yeah.
me, Chris, this guy Will, and Chris's cousin Dwayne.
Yeah,
We started God Awful.
yeah.
We
And
did
a
that
lot-
for like almost 2 years or something.
Yeah, a lot of the
They
original
got me
one-
on board at some point during that band.
Yeah, he used to be in a band called MFB, right? Was that the one you were in?
That was the one.
Yeah.
Nobody remembers.
It was like Scrappy's
The
shit.
Scrappy's kids will know all these bands.
I remember.
The 40-something Scrappy's kids will know all this.
Yeah,
I know,
fucking-
huh?
Yeah, I met you fresh out of the
Yeah,
sunset.
we started out as like a, we were almost like pop punky, kind of like mixed with street punk, kind
It
of.
was very immature,
Yeah.
but fun.
Yeah, it was just like a
Nobody-
goof
and
around
we sucked.
band.
Yeah, and we were God Awful.
Like I met him through the guys in Posture Rocket somehow through my cousin, right?
That's
Yeah.
a funny story. I don't know. I'll try to tell it really fast if you want.
Yeah, go for it.
So like, I just moved to Tucson. I was 18 and fucking I didn't know anybody. I was at the mall, at the Park Place Mall, and I was trying to go find music and shirts and shit. And I was like, where's the fucking Hot Topic, you know? Because back in 2000, that was the shit. So I was like, I saw these punk-looking kids. One guy had a mohawk, and then the other one was Chris. So I was like, hey, you guys know where the Hot Topic is? And Dwayne, his cousin, was like, yeah, it's right over there. I'm like, cool. And then fucking later that night, I go to a party with Casey from Posture Rocket on the east side, and they were at that party. So we talked for like 2 hours about punk bands and shit. And then at the very end, they were like, when I was about to leave, they're like, yeah, we're trying to start a band, but we don't have a drummer. And I was like, I'm a fucking drummer. It never even came up till the very last second. And that's basically how we started.
Yeah, that's basically it. And then,
What kind of bands were you guys going to see back then?
back then?
So were you
well,
guys like involved in the scene?
Yeah,
like
but,
before
we all
you
went to
started
Scrappy.
your band?
Well,
and
I
stuff?
went to Scrappy's.
Hell
Me and my
yeah.
cousin were at Scrappy's every day. Esteban was at Scrappy's.
I
I
fucking
was
lived
there a
at
lot.
Scrappy's.
Yeah, and him.
And as soon as I got here, I was there too. Like, that was what...
I
met
missed you
all
because we
the-
were underage and there wasn't anything else to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I never went to Scrappy's much. My buddy Randy and I talked about going to Scrappy's, but never actually went. But we creep out of the south side sometimes and go see like Gat Rot shows.
So you were living on the
Yeah,
south side at the time?
Yeah, like southwest side, Manzanita
I was like,
area.
you were living on the south side and you used to go and see Gat Rod all the time.
Yeah, it was.
And you guys were all East Siders for the most part?
I was
or
an East
I
Sider.
was straight downtown.
you
He was
lived downtown?
I was in the Air Force, so I was...
You
I
were
was-
in the Air Force?
Yeah, I moved here because of that.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that about you.
I did 4 years, but I was on base for the first 2 years, so I was in, I guess, South Central.
So are you a little older than everybody else?
No,
I'm
no.
the old man.
It's Colin, then me, then Chris, then
No, I'm
Brian.
older than Chris.
Yeah, he's
Oh, you're older than
By
Chris?
a couple months, yeah.
Damn, you're old, bro.
I was pretty new. I was pretty new to the scene when I showed up at these.
I'm
Yeah.
the baby.
Baby Esteban.
He just turned 40.
Look at him. He's gorgeous, too. Look at
Dude,
him.
go.
He's an actor. But
Sexy ass.
so
That's
you guys are going to
sexy.
see bands at Scrappy's all the time. What were some of the bands playing back then around 2000, 2002?
Yeah,
What
Well, my
genre
thing
except
was,
for Scrappy's
I like-
was a
I
fucking
like-
weird little like mix of everything, man.
Well, what were you
Like-
checking out?
Well, because I lived at Scrappy's and was working at Scrappy's practically.
You literally lived there?
No, but it's a saying. But goddamn it, like it didn't matter what show. That's where I was at, like 24/7, because I had nowhere else to go. I got out of school
a lot of kids
and got dropped off downtown, and I was like, well, I sure as fuck don't want to go home. So I wound up at Scrappy's. Whole reason I even wanted working there was just because I was there 24/7, and the mom and pop owners, Bill and Kathy, were just like, well, he's here all the time. Put him to fucking work.
Yeah.
And that was it.
He's a big boy. Let him do security.
That's literally
That's
what
what
happened.
happened with kind of all of us. Like, we
Right.
all used to work at Scrappy.
Like, we need somebody to take care of any of the kids that are underage so they don't get in trouble.
security once.
I
Yeah,
was like,
Tucson, that area was a little more like grimy back then too. It's not all developed like it, you know,
Yeah,
it is
No,
now.
no, it was your classic red light
Like I used,
district, for
yeah,
sure.
we used to have
The
a lot of fun
Greyhound
in the
bus
parking
station
lot
was
across
there.
the street.
Yeah. They call it the rape and murder.
So
line.
Scrappy's literally was like the one little safe zone for all the underage kids to go and just pull shenanigans, play your fucking music, and not have to worry about like creepers and shit.
I remember before the streetcar got put in, man, it was much the same. That's really what changed it. I mean, it seemed like it was turning around by itself already. God damn it, dude.
I was gonna say you can prop it up on.
Fuck it. I don't.
Maybe get another brick.
But
Nah, because I gotta.
This side.
It seemed like it was kind of turning around by itself a little bit, which is probably why they decided they could actually do something with it.
Well, they had been
You know
planning
what I mean?
it for a long time because Scrappy's was always like
Scrappy's was always
threatened of
Scrappy's.
getting closed down
Yeah.
because they wanted to turn it into like a jazz club and stuff like that. I remember every
the people
fucking
from the
month
Rialto
like
were
that
always
was
trying
like,
to shut it down. They
yeah.
hated Scrappy's.
They hated having all the kids around. But you know, we had our own little scene. There'd be drama, but just nothing big.
Except
It
for
was
people
more
getting
scary.
But
shot.
to get back to it,
Yeah, but it was more
that wasn't
people.
until
Well,
later.
that was later. Yeah.
But honestly, to kind of explain, like,
A little bit of
fuck
drama.
around and find out. kind of
Other
situation,
people
but-
were getting shot, and we were just a bunch of little kids like playing wall ball or something against the Rialto's wall or something.
Actually, yeah.
You know? Yeah.
I missed that, dude.
Yeah.
But for a quick summary on the Scrappy scene, it was like everybody was fighting for their own piece of their own genre, but Scrappy's was a stage that everybody let it out on. Hardcore,
Yeah.
punk rock, hip hop, R&B, mic battles were going on
Ska.
back then.
All my
Fucking
ska.
ska.
I wish we'd gone.
Brian was in the ska.
I wish I'd
band.
gone to Scrappy's.
I moved to Tucson in 2005, and I caught one show at the old Scrappy's, and then I was like, that was pretty cool. And then I think like a month later, that shooting happened, and I was like, well, that's that.
Yeah.
Dude, you know what sucks ass? I'm sorry. I just remember this. Line of Fire was supposed to fucking open for Propaganda 2 days
Yeah.
later at
Oh,
Scrappy's.
shit.
You guys remember that?
Yeah.
That's real, right? I didn't
Yeah.
dream that, right?
Propaganda
I
didn't
forgot
play that
So,
show because of that shooting.
Because of the
they
shooting,
wound up the
Propaganda
fucking
canceled our show. We were supposed to open for Propaganda
that would
at
have been so
Scrappy's.
fucking good.
And like,
Oh,
that was
God damn
also
it,
like
that would've been
our
nuts.
big influences too.
Yeah.
with Propaganda.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
a bucket list show.
We did get to play with a lot of good bands at
Yeah, we
Scrappy's.
did. Yeah, we did.
But yeah, we played there, or we all met there.
We caught a
when
lot
we
of
were
bands
young.
on their way up at Scrappy's when it was still like in anybody books a band kind of shit. Like it really was run by the kids. So if they had an idea, they reached out to some record label or promoter, and they were like, "Yeah, sure, we'll add you to the tour." And we're like, "Fuck, really?" Like,
Yeah, it seemed a lot more. I'm trying to like put my finger on the vibe, dude. Like, it seemed like there were bands, and this applies to when I'm younger than you guys, but I'm not that much younger than you guys. So I feel like we kind of had a little bit of
Yeah, there's definitely crossover.
And it seemed like, yeah, when I was like very young and I was coming around Tucson or whatever, back like 2010 and prior, it seemed like there was definitely a lot more. You'd see a lot of bands that were like really starting to fucking like snowball,
yeah,
just like playing like hole in the wall fucking super DIY spots. And like these days, it seems like bands don't really turn up in town until they've already
Yeah,
kind of
the whole
gotten
dynamic
Well, I
has
think
changed.
some sort of an
I think
established.
a lot of that has to do with like the festival scene. Like bands don't want to go on tour for 6 months anymore because they
It's
want.
not
But
feasible.
there's
because
no
you can-
cool places to
yeah.
play either
Yeah.
in town, even if you
There's
are.
no
like,
money.
Well, the internet kind of fucked it too, because unless you're big on the net and people already know you, it's like no one's gonna come to your fucking tour. When back in the day, you had to play your ass off before like.
Yeah, you'd have to
Yeah.
go to town like 3 times before anybody would be like, "Hey, this band's kind of cool. We should watch them."
I've been out of the game for so long, I have no idea how shit works.
It was 10 times more hands-on back there. You had to make your fucking
Yeah.
way by actually playing shows, not just doing
Yeah,
internet.
but a lot of the
nonsense.
bands we used to watch, I mean, it was all the local bands, and like back then, it was like, you know, the genre thing in Tucson never really worked because, like, I mean, there were some kids that did it, but it was like everybody had their own style, so I'd watch everybody. Like, you know, it'd be like, I love Fusty Lugs.
It was cool to watch everyone develop their styles too,
Yeah.
and
Fucking
watch these bands
Sabertooth Snatch, that was
progress.
cheap.
I-
after
Yeah.
Still.
But I
Even the Bled was like
I'd go from,
during
like,
that era, like
band-
the Bled blew
Yeah.
up, and
They
then
were coming
to me,
up,
that
huh?
was like,
Yeah, the
oh
whole-
shit,
those guys
the
were-
whole
these
idea
guys
of,
came
like,
from
scene
Scrappies, and
hardcore
they
didn't
fucking just
exist
shook
yet.
the world. Like
Yeah.
that gave me a lot of encouragement.
They were the only band from Tucson that I could really recall making any waves up until like Gate
Yeah.
Creeper.
Yeah.
Like-
or like before
Yeah.
that, like fucking Calexico and shit. You know?
Yeah,
There are
Calexico-
some famous Tucson bands.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
the Bled was like the best, or not the
Yeah.
best, but the first hardcore band that fucking
Yeah.
got universal attention
Yeah.
during when our heyday.
Although, like,
Yeah.
although growing up too, though, like, definitely Gat Rot was like the big band. I
yeah.
remember that being the big thing.
That was
But
a
I
big
like
Tucson
I liked
band.
everybody.
It was cool playing with
from
Get Rod too,
different-
because I, you know, going back and seeing them when I was younger in high
Yeah.
school and shit. And
Dude,
then,
I
like,
think even on the
this is
video, you
fucking
can
cool,
see
this
me
is cool,
in the
yeah.
video back in the day
Like
of
during-
me, like in the
yeah.
mosh pit
During
for
that up
Gat
and
Rot.
coming, like the Bled was making their waves and starting to get national rec, but Gat Rot was still like the Tucson like local loved favorite. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, they were
I still
dope.
love those
They would
guys.
pack
I
the-
fucking
Go
see
watch
them
them at the
outside.
Paragon and shit.
locals.
remember
Did
the
you guys
Paragon?
ever play with the Bled?
Yeah. Well,
What?
did we?
The Bled?
I don't know.
thought
I
we
don't
had
think we've
to
ever
be
played
honest,
with
right?
the Bled.
No, I don't know. I don't
The
think we
Bled
did.
were actually.
The kid
No,
was
I think the
shows a
only
lot.
thing we used to hang out with them like almost like every day.
We were always
because
in
they
the
were
same cars,
Scrappy
same
kids.
parties and shit.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like Line
we
of
were
Fire would play,
acquaintances,
or
but
the-
no, I don't think we ever played a
Or
show.
the like
No,
yeah,
we
maybe
never
like
played
Line of
the
Fire
show.
would play, or the Bled would play.
So love them.
And then we'd all go party,
Take it
which
down.
is that's that one thing about like that Swinging Udders Youth Brigade show, the flyer has the dudes from the Bled because it's Billy Holford's birthday party. And we used to just go drink together
He's projectile
downtown,
vomiting.
and they're all like in the background.
And
And
that
I
made the
remember when the
flyer.
Bled got big, kids were just like, "Oh, I'm not into punk anymore. I'm into scene music," and it's like you realize we're friends with these people, right? Like, and I remember a lot of kids stopped going to our like the punk shows. And the
but
guys
then they
from the
started again.
No, but then the guys, our very next
This
show,
was a
our
good one,
attendance
actually.
was like way lower, and the only people there were the dudes from the fucking Bled. And I was all like, these kids showed up, they could have fucking hung out with their fucking heroes, man.
Yeah.
And it's like,
But that was kind of our thing,
yeah,
right?
but they were
It's
the
like,
kids we grew up
Well,
with.
the
Like,
audience
fuck
was
the
creating the
posturing, let's
politics
all
with it.
fucking
We
hang
were
out
just putting
together
on the
and just
fucking
have a
shows. Like we were all friends behind the scenes. Like we
Yeah,
weren't making up
yeah.
no rules
yeah,
about
we had
who
no
we
enemy.
wear,
And it's like the same with like the straight edge thing. Like people always used to talk about how like straight edge and punk rock and blah, 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 and all these drunk kids. We used to have like barbecues and shit. We called them ex-BBQ
Yeah, it
X's.
was all about believing what you believe
And we'd
in,
all go hang out
let's all
together.
fucking hang out.
Yeah, we'd all go hang out together. But some of the younger
Good
kids
posse
wouldn't
thing
see
going on,
that.
that's awesome.
Yeah, young kids wouldn't see that, and then they'd
Unity.
show up and they're like, "Why are you hanging out with indie rockers and straight edge kids?"
Yeah,
It's like they're
So
our
we always
same
have.
age, you know?
It seemed like too. I mean, this is just like my perception of it, kind of coming off that wave. It seemed like when I first started going to shows, I'm not sure. I don't think I ever got to catch you guys until you got back together, because I think you guys were basically.
That makes sense. Well, we broke up
Like
like 3
2012?
times.
You guys got back together in like 2010,
2010, yeah.
and I remember
Yeah, yeah.
because I
You're
caught.
right, yeah.
We
That's
played a
when we
bunch of
started
shows
playing with
you and
Esteban.
stuff, but fucking
Yeah,
No,
Sorry.
that was before. Sorry, go on.
But it definitely seemed like it was more of there was more of like a fan base and then band type of dynamic going on, like when I first came around in like old Scrappy style, and then by the time I was like heavily involved in stuff and doing my own thing, it seemed like everything was just like super intertwined and almost kind of, I mean, it's just waves with it, but like clickiness, you know what I mean? It wasn't like,
Yeah,
oh, we're gonna
yeah.
go over here and play a 6 set, and then like if we play good enough, more people are gonna show up. It'd be like, okay, we could come over here and play a show, but if half the people in the fucking scene aren't our homies, then no matter how good we do, no one's gonna give a fuck.
Oh yeah.
Kind of weird. I don't know. That's just my perception. It's
that
not even.
like we were trying to,
and I
like,
think that
break
goes
all of that
across
up.
the board.
Well, I
these
think
days.
that was like
Yeah.
one of Line of Fire's like even God Awful maybe like trying to break that balance. 'Cause there
Yeah.
used to be even
And fuck the
like
posturing
when
and all that shit.
I
It's
was
all
going to
fucking shit, yeah,
shows when I was young, and it was kind of like almost like an older versus younger, and all the older bands used to not play. And I had grown up seeing those bands like Fussy Lugs and stuff like that.
What were the
I went
older
to high
bands
school with fucking,
Yeah.
I went
aside
to
from
Presidio
Gat Rock and
with,
fucking
Clyde.
Fussy Lugs.
Gat Rock had been
and
around
what was
forever.
the
Before
other
they were
band?
Gat Rock, they were Channel
Mike.
Zero, but it was the same fucking band playing some like hard ass fucking like
But
Arizona
I mean,
style
they,
hardcore.
like, what were some of the
Okay.
bands we saw? Fussy
The bands
Lugs.
that I would
Fussy
like
Lugs was
some of the
fucking
older
great.
kids that I would like,
Hobart?
like like Hobart or like
Oh
the
yeah,
Blacks.
Hobart, the Blacks.
Fucking what's that
was one of the
Polish
best
ska
bands.
band that did really good?
The fucking Stalkers,
Warsaw.
man.
Warsaw, dude. Warsaw was the
Warsaw was
shit.
good.
That's
They
a
were
tight
like
name.
nationally known, bro.
Yeah,
like,
they did a lot of touring.
Dude,
like
there was
Polish
also-
brothers doing ska.
Also
dude.
saying like Tucson was so small that like
This
you
is still the
couldn't-
first question,
you
right?
couldn't have
We'll get into the
you
fucking.
couldn't
We'll get some
have like a
structure, dude.
smaller scene. Like in bigger cities, it's like these are the hardcore bands, these are street punk bands, these are the crusty bands. Like everybody had to intertwine with each other because there's probably like only one band for each genre in Tucson.
Yeah.
But
So
you
we
would,
like
back
it
in
also.
those days, you would also get a lot of cross-genre shows, like punk
Yeah.
bands would be playing with hardcore bands, with metal bands, and a fucking ska
Dude, I
band would
remember,
be
like,
Like we
opening.
would play with
Yeah.
Coercion and shit.
Yeah, Coercion. And
That's actually going on a
we even
lot
played with Sweet-
again, like now.
Yeah.
About fucking time.
But I think that's more like it's a positive thing, but I don't think it's like a conscious thing. I think it's just the nature of like, because I feel like kids are getting their fucking exposure to this type of shit more through like the internet.
Yeah.
So
They got
they're
way
not
more knowledge.
they're not like hanging out with their homies, and their homies are like, yo, these are the good bands, and these are the bands we don't fuck with, type of deal.
Yeah.
Now they're just like sitting on fucking TikTok and anything that appeals to them, they're getting, and
They're
then
going for it.
which is cool. That's actually one of the few things I like about the whole fucking
Like having kind of fish
New
for your
wave.
crowd for
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Like
yeah.
Like, because, like,
you'd be playing the same exact music as the band next to you, but then like the people that could potentially fuck with you are like, wait a second, are you a skate punk band or are you a street punk band?
Yeah. I feel like that's not going on at all.
What
But
does
I
your
feel that-
scene say you can listen to?
Yeah.
Then we're that.
And the way like social
Oh,
media
you
went,
like
it kinda
pop punk?
raised
We're
the bar,
pop punk.
right?
And
Like
dress
everyone's
accordingly.
kind of has something to expect or has an
Hot
idea in their mind first before they go somewhere.
Only
Before,
place to get Misfit shirts.
where before it was like we didn't have any of that to tell you.
Well, no,
You just had
before-
your friends in your circle.
But
and
that was
you
the
would
cool
go
thing
check it
too
out.
about before is like you had the fucking. It was almost like there was more. Even if it wasn't like, it's cool that people were being kind of, I think, pushed a little bit to like not blow.
Yeah.
So that's pretty sick. But at the same time, it's like it used to be like if you put out a record or if you bothered to set up a show, like people. I mean, honestly, it fizzled out. I think I was living through a fucking low point when I was doing stuff, but it seemed like if you actually went through the trouble to set something up, or you went through the trouble to put something out, like a physical release or something, people would give it the time of day
Yeah.
just based off the fact that it existed.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Versus
These
now,
dudes just had a
everything's.
record label.
Yeah.
You know.
You really
I mean,
have
you
to
could probably
promote,
attest to
push
what you're
yourself
saying.
to go anywhere. I think today, right? Like that's kind of
Well,
social media.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah, for
you gotta
sure.
prove it first before they'll come out. I don't know.
I don't know. It's for nowadays. It's like it almost seems like it's trendy right now, which is part of why I'm trying to put on like older.
I'm just trying to
bands.
understand how this whole new world works.
It's yeah, me too. It's fucking weird, dude.
It's definitely
Oh, man.
refreshing for like dudes like you that were part of that scene to now reintroduce that shit to the younger generation.
Yeah, I want them to understand like
But I
how
think-
hard everything sucked.
I definitely think I definitely think Tucson was never a part of that, like, keep genres separate. Like, every show was a fucking, like,
Tucson
multiple
really
different... I remember, like, we play, like, Swing Ding Amigos or the fucking Achmonics or Nobody.
Well,
or
we
some
had
shit.
an ability to kind of draw whoever, like everybody, like so, like I brought up Coercion earlier, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But when we played with
They're a
them, like
metal band.
everybody went outside when they played, and they played that song "Click," like talking shit, because
Yeah.
everybody went outside, and then we played, and everybody came back in. It was, and we would play in Phoenix, and every time we played in Phoenix, nobody would know who we are.
Yeah.
And then halfway through our set, fucking people would, somebody would go outside, like, you guys gotta fucking come inside. And then by the time it was a full fucking crowd, it was like our last song because we would fucking like.
But it was a
zoom
weird
through.
automatic thing. Like we were the new guys that
20
they didn't
minute
know what
set.
to expect, so people would walk the fuck out.
Well, you guys had a weird sound too, not in like a negative way, but you guys didn't have like a traditional
Yeah.
punk
I
sound.
feel like there was just
Sure.
a lot of different
We
influences.
Yeah.
always consider
Really,
ourselves like hardcore punk, which back then I don't think was as a big a thing. Like you're either a hardcore tough guy hardcore band or
It's like
you're
an
like
80s thing,
a
right?
rock and roll punk band. And
Right.
like we liked both of that shit. Like all the bands we liked, we grew up, well, especially like me and Brian, we liked all the bands.
Yeah.
Like I liked from garage rock to fucking straight up tough guy hardcore.
Well,
So how was, it doesn't even necessarily have to apply to the scene in general, but how was Tucson in the early ass 2000s, late 90s.
Oh,
Just living here, whether it be
was
going to shows or hanging out, doing things. How was the city, being a part of the city back then versus like, you know, more recent times right now?
Yeah, well, there was like cliques, but that scene was way bigger than what like is going on nowadays.
You know,
feel
I-
like,
Well, there's a lot less.
I couldn't
people.
compare it because I
Yeah.
haven't been. I've been out of touch with the young
Yeah.
scene out here.
I
for
lived
a
in
long
Alaska
time.
for 7 years.
So I don't
before
know
came
how
back.
good it is now.
Well, I'm not even, like I said,
Well,
it
like,
doesn't
I was
I'm not
saying,
even
like-
talking about the scene, so to speak. I'm just talking
Right.
about the city. Living
Oh,
in
the
Tucson.
city?
Oh, right, yeah, living, okay, yeah.
Well, for
Yeah.
me, it's like, to me,
Change
like,
mindset.
it was awesome because there wasn't, like, as many people as there is now. And, like, everybody,
Yeah.
nowadays, it's like, I don't know, like, snowbirds used to be a thing. Like, in the wintertime, you know, like, all the people from, like, Wisconsin that were escaping the snow that had a bunch of money, they would, like,
Yeah.
have a winter home in Tucson or
I worked on a
whatever.
lot of their homes.
And, like,
I was a carpenter. back
So the streets would be like clogged up with a bunch of people that aren't from here and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then like as soon as like, you know, April or May hits and it starts getting to be 100 degrees, like all those people fuck off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like, it was
great.
not like a ghost town, but it was like a locals only
It-
kind of
yeah.
fucking vibe.
It was pretty
During
ghost
those-
town.
changed.
Nowadays, the streets are just clogged up all the time with
Exactly,
people who aren't from
exactly.
here.
There's
Oh,
fucking
it's a suburb of
student
California.
houses everywhere.
Exactly.
And
so it's like,
yeah.
it's just a very different vibe in that regard for me
Yeah.
now. And it was like,
It
it used to
is.
be super cheap to live here.
Yeah,
so
that
like you
was
get
yeah.
a lot of like people that are like very interesting, but they don't have a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So, like, when shit got really weird in the fucking scene, like, everything was pretty fucking copacetic and everybody was definitely enjoying themselves, and it was near the late, like, once the 2000s started getting going, and I'll throw it out there, like, 9/11 fucking happened, and that's when people started following politics and trying to figure out whose side's on what, who's doing what. A
I
bunch
was
of kids were getting
immediately
ready
laughing at 9/11 jokes.
a bunch of kids were trying to figure out, like, who was enlisting, who was signing up, what's going on.
Do you remember
So,
playing
like,
9/11?
the categorizing started happening for a little bit, but at the same time, like, the overall thing back then wasn't really getting into like who's Republican or Democrat. No one gave a shit. It's the same fucking government, you know. It doesn't matter. So like the punk rock scene and hardcore scene and all of them actually galvanized pretty hard for a while because it was just all about, you know, fucking, you know, defending the rights of human beings, really, like on
Yeah.
any side, and all this, you know, bullshit that was going on at the time. So it started getting weird and tense during that time, and police presence started getting really fucking weird and vilifying all the youth around town. And just because, you know, we started speaking up, we were going to city council meetings, we were protesting fucking governors, like, showing up and visiting and shit.
Yeah.
galvanized kids.
So like, it started getting very proactive in a way, and that's actually something that even happened to Line of Fire before I joined in, or when I was a part of it. Like, these guys got a hold of a show that was a benefit show for an anarchist collective, and the fucking TPD caught wind of it, and they were fucking shadowing us for every show for like damn near a fucking year. Like wherever we
Yeah.
were at, they
Every
were
house
there.
party we'd play, the cops were there before even the
Yeah,
show
ghetto-
started.
That was
He got busted before we.
that
could
was
play,
something
yeah.
I noticed. I think it fucking popped off around 09 is when I started seeing, like, I remember, I mean, like you said, rent was super cheap back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that was one thing
I
where
had
you
a
would
house
just
for
have fucking,
$375 a month.
yeah.
Yep.
You would see fucking weirdos, like they talk about, like, 'cause if you lived in an apartment complex, it was always like a given that like at least a third of those apartments are going to be crackheads.
Yeah.
Because they could just kind of like scrape by and fucking manage to, which is like kind of convenient depending on what your hobbies were.
Now it's washes.
But yeah, now they all live in the wash.
My little cousin calls
No.
me.
And I
That was
remember
yeah.
there used to be like punk houses and stuff, and now
Yeah.
then all of a sudden there weren't.
Now it's golf links.
And yeah, but also like the house parties and house shows and park shows and stuff like that. Sometime around like 08, 09, I remember the cops just started coming down hard.
Oh, yeah, well,
Like
Smiles
crazy
on their
hard.
faces, fucking
They
bashing
didn't give a
fucking
shit.
kids'
They were
heads.
ready
It
to
was
massive
nuts.
guys.
Is that
Like
Line of
Andy
Fire show?
Orstead's house?
Yeah,
Oh,
they
the
were-
fucking cops showed up
They
at
told me not
that
to bring
shit?
up the
God.
bus.
Yeah, I was
Every
there.
week, he's a regular at my bar, and him and his wife, and like he's always like, "How do I know you?" And it was funny to me.
So I watched you get the shit kicked out of you in high heels.
Yeah, it was like
that
funny
show.
to me to not indulge him. I'm just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then like a week ago, I'm like, yeah, I'm in Line of Fire, bro. Like we were supposed to play that party where you and your wife got beat up by cops.
We played there a few times.
We did.
It was
Yeah,
fucking
we did.
awesome.
Dude, you know what? I
It
feel
was
so.
Halloween. I was dressed as
Yeah.
Captain Planet. I was moshing.
I feel so fucking bad. Like
I was
obviously-
Captain Ron.
we're all captains.
We're all
Dude.
captains. You're Captain Crunch, yep.
Obviously, there's nothing cool about
Captain
that,
Awful.
Yep.
but it was kind of funny, like just seeing
So-
him in like a suit, a skirt suit, and like
And
the
dressed
cop
as
just
the governor
fucking
of
dropping
Arizona.
him and his fucking feet going up there. I was like,
That was a
I
scary
actually
one,
watched
though.
the little exchange
Yeah.
like unfold
They had
because they were
smiles
like,
on their
all they
faces.
did
It was fucked up.
Yeah, all
Yeah, I
they did
was
was
scared
see
as
the
fuck.
party and want to fucking fuck it up.
Yeah.
So they showed up. Andy Horsehead caught him at the front door and was like,
yo, this
"No,
is
you guys
legal.
aren't fucking coming in." They're like, "We got calls and complaints from the neighbors," and they're like,
The neighbors are
"They're
here.
fucking here.
Yeah.
They're in here. You're
Yep.
full of shit. Get out of here."
And then
Then
they
you
broke
watch
his
all
hand.
these
And there's a
fucking like
freeway
black
on
shirts
one
go
side of
over
the
to the
house and
fucking
a
cop
fucking
cars.
train track on the other
Yeah.
side of the fucking
Yeah,
house.
it was all
They
industrial.
were on the
shit.
corner. They
Get
had
the fuck
one
outta here.
neighbor who was there.
They had the ghetto
A
bird
dirt
out,
lot
too.
across the
Yeah.
way, train tracks behind them, and
They
an
were
empty
banging on the
road
fence,
over
dude. I
a
remember that
bridge
shit.
on the
That
other
was
side.
scary.
I was
No
talking
one-
a bunch of
TPD.
shit. My girlfriend.
Okay,
was
yeah,
like,
for real,
oh,
though.
we gotta
Yeah.
go. Stop it.
Here's the
Tucker
kicker that they
Morales.
did, like where they pulled their bullshit and just like flexed their badges and came at everybody. They all convened back at one car, came back, and were like,
Armor
"Well, you
and
know what? We're
shit.
gonna go ahead and designate this an unruly gathering, and everybody has to fucking disperse and get out now."
Huh.
And as everybody did, they had already like doubled the numbers by this time. So as people were leaving, they're pulling over everyone.
And beating the shit out of him.
Yeah.
They almost beat up
Yeah,
Jeff
they were just
Swiney.
yanking
Well,
people
they
out of the
beat up
fucking
his
cars.
wife bad.
Yeah, well, they beat up his
Yeah.
wife bad, and they almost beat up Jeff Swiney too. Because I remember
Yeah, they did.
Jeff told me that he was like running down the street to get his bike, and they fucking had the batons out, and they're like, "Oh, what up, Jeff? You okay?" And he's like on the ground, just like, "Whoa, don't hit me."
Yeah.
It's like, dude.
I ran out. I went up on the roof when they showed up.
Mhm.
I went on the roof and I chilled by like a gutter, and I was watching everybody get the shit kicked out of them. And then when I saw all the cops were already beating people up, I just like went down and I dipped out in the wash, and I did like an 8-ball cocaine.
You had the best night out of everyone. Bro.
Yeah. Well, I was like, damn, dude. I hope they don't catch me with these drugs on me.
I got,
And then I fucking-
Do them all right now.
Yeah.
I got super fucking lucky. I was on a tiny, weird little motorcycle at the time, and as I fucking left the party, because I was getting chased out by cops who had batons drawn, they're like, "You need to fucking disperse, you need to disperse." I'm like, "Oh shit." And I didn't know where any of these fucking dudes were, and,
we
and
all
everyone
jumped in
that
the-
I saw that was near
I
me
was
that were
hiding in
homies
the house.
were all getting fucking like the fucking braces slapped on them. So I get on my motorcycle and I go down the neighborhood. I see 2 cop cars pull out behind me and trying to fucking follow me. I dipped down some dude's driveway that went through his backyard and had another gate going out into the fucking alleyway that was on the train tracks. That's the only reason I got the fuck away from them, and I just rode my fucking motorcycle down the train tracks.
Into the sunset.
No, then I wound up at the Circle K on 60
Wait, is this
Speedway
the
and got on my
play you
cell
were in?
phone. And I just started calling these motherfuckers, trying to figure out who the fuck is where and what is happening.
I'll be playing the role of Esteban,
It's funny
the
because
biker that gets away from the cops tonight.
I ended up at Lindy's house.
Yeah, we're at Lindy's.
Yeah, we went to Lindy's house. We went to Lindy's.
I
And
got
then
fucking-
Bell
I didn't
Bitch
even know
almost
where that
beat up
was,
that
bro.
girl
It was
for
just like,
I got
dressing
picked
like a
up by a
My
fucking...
band hasn't been arrested. I'm okay.
I called my homie. I guess he had gotten out of there okay. And he was like in a car with some like chicks that we didn't really know, because some like 18-year-old girls just jumped in the car to like get
Yeah.
away from the police.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was young too, so it wasn't that weird or anything. We were like, I wasn't even old enough to drink, but I'm fucking geeked, right? And we get in, and he had this like fake knife, like one of those retractable.
Oh,
Like, you would know all about this,
Yeah, yeah,
Esteban. It was just one of those.
It's prop.
Yeah, it was a prop knife.
It's
And I got in, and he's like, started fucking freaking out. And he was fucking on drugs too, dude. And these chicks were just like kind of normal. And he starts freaking out and starts screaming at me. And I'm fucking freaking out because I'm like fucking, and fucking. Then he's like, "God damn it, I'm so fucking pissed." And he pulls the fucking prop knife out and he starts stabbing me in the chest. And like, I didn't
Did
know
you
it
think you
was.
were dead?
I thought I was dead. I was like, what the
I
fuck?
thought this would hurt worse.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh man, I must be in shock, right? And like, I start fucking hitting him in the face because I'm thinking he murdered me. And then he's like, "Oh, it's a prop. Chill, dude. It's a prop, you fucking moron." I was like, "Oh," and then like we're both laughing, and then we got like these 3 fucking 18-year-old girls in the back seat, and they're just bawling. Like,
They're scared out of their mind.
That is a fucking great story.
Oh shit!
I like that one.
That trumps
No,
all
no,
of our
it's cool,
stories.
it's cool. Just,
That was a good story.
Is the war starting right now?
Oh, it's gonna
yeah.
be one of those alien videos now, dude.
fucking.
That's
No,
actually good.
Helicopters. The base is right
coming
here.
in.
But now that can geotrack us. Geotrack us.
yeah, they heard about this interview.
Oh, those are 810s.
Are we still being shadowed?
Yo, they've been going crazy lately. Yeah, we gotta
play Back to Iraq right now by Guar. Back to Iraq.
Seriously, like we start talking about running fire shit with cops in the
I know.
Back to Iraq. So there's one more. Oh wait, no,
It was like 2 more.
Yeah, it's 2 more.
They're doing exercises.
I'm gonna take that opportunity to grab a beer.
There's a fourth one in there.
Yeah, there we got about 2 minutes until we can talk again. What?
No, it's obvious.
And there's our tax dollars headed to Israel right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty much.
Well, yeah, well, it's just a region.
Yeah,
we're just back to Iraq, baby.
You know.
Back to Iraq. Back to Iraq.
I wish they just get over it. Yeah, like
That's the fastest you can go with that thing? Come on, pussy.
I know, really.
They were supposed to retire.
Well, they're great over there because they have nothing.
They have
So
a 60 cal machine gun chain gun on the front, and they can shoot missiles too. So
well, they can carry a tremendous payload, right? That's the whole.
bunker busters, like those fuckers during the Iraq War, they would be able to shoot missiles in like
Into the ground.
100 feet down into the fucking bunker.
Yeah.
So and then it would explode like 3 times.
Oh, yeah,
So you're watching why we don't have health care.
Right?
Is what you're saying.
Exactly. I'm a veteran. I don't even get dental, dude. I gotta go to Mexico to get my teeth fixed.
Yeah, nice.
I'm supposed to get my
I just
tooth
let
pulled
mine
on
ride.
Wednesday. Tomorrow. Wait,
Fuck you! Don't they know Line of Fire is doing an interview right now?
That's why they're doing that right now, dude.
Is that important?
Silence the
Same
media.
as the cops shutting down all our shows back in the day.
They knew. They got a tip. Which one of you is a rat?
It's weird how they had the planes in the air before.
Wait, are you working with the
We
government,
started
Bruno?
Talking about the,
what gave it away, dude?
John's talking about it again. John's talking about it. Yeah, but
If I was, I would tell you.
there was a big.
The
That's
reason
what they
being-
all say.
No, because I'd just be like, I am,
You
dude. It's
legally don't have
2024, dude. I'd be like, I am. What the fuck are you gonna do, dude?
I identify as
Leave.
discrimination.
Yeah.
But there was a big crackdown on punk shows back then.
They
especially,
had
like,
they had a
party
huge
shows.
one. Yeah, it was really.
And they even
tough.
had it in the paper, I think. They were talking about, it wasn't just punk shows. It was just like cracking down on house parties.
Yeah, well, that's when they started giving everybody red tags.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They started like anybody with a gathering of more than 5 people, they would
Yeah.
come through and just fucking red
And
tag.
it wasn't so much about anything. It was just like, Arizona's broke. And that's how they made their money.
I think.
like-
Oh yeah, and they started hitting DUI, so they started giving
Yeah.
everybody red tags. So they stopped. When I talked to Chino, he was talking about that, dude. We thought it was funny, but like, he was like, "Yeah, man." Like, I guess the syndicate back when they were like in the 90s, early 2000s and stuff, they just used to love playing house parties and stuff, and that was like their big thing.
Yep.
And then all the house parties got fucking thrown out because of whatever. And we were making a joke about it. I'm like, yeah, they started throwing out red tags everywhere. And then he's like, yep. And then the bars got busy and they started throwing out fucking DUIs.
Yeah.
So it was really just a scam, I think, for them to fucking
Yeah,
make some
for
fucking
Well, what
side
did
money,
they say?
dude.
So like
It was
2
a
in
big
5
thing
people
because,
in Arizona have a fucking DUI.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm one of them.
No, that was a big thing. It wasn't just the DUIs.
Wait, how
the
many
cops,
are there of us?
I
You guys
haven't-
have DUIs?
I
No?
don't.
I've been pulled
I'm-
over
okay, so one
by a
in
cop with
five,
a beer
right?
in my
One in
lap
five,
and gotten away. Like
So
I should have many and don't have any. It's
there
fucking
was
awesome.
a period there
Same thing
in
with children.
Tucson
I should have
specifically
many, I
where
don't have any. It's
the
awesome.
TPD were actually told to target all the locals and get as much as possible because Arizona was in hard-ass debt. So everybody was getting pulled over, getting cited for every little fucking thing possible. And then the news had to put out a fucking, like, straight-up, like, hard-ass fucking segment about how the workforce was completely fucking crippled because all of them have their cars impounded. They're all pending fucking fees and charges, you know,
Yeah.
and, you
Can't go
know,
to
for
work, he's
local
gonna have a
traffic
ride.
shit.
That's like one thing about
Right,
all of
work.
us. We're all restaurant workers locally, or were as.
Yeah, and it actually came out to a
Yeah.
point where like 23% of the locals in Tucson were like had their cars impounded. Like the workforce was crippled because
Yeah.
the police were specifically targeting the locals for Arizona's debt.
Yeah. I'm well aware. I was one of them.
I feel like now more than ever, it's like get in your fucking place.
Yeah.
Well, it does genuinely seem like things have fucking let up a little bit, but I think they're just planning on fucking like murdering us. So
I just don't know if they have like the capacity to deal with.
shit up already, man.
I don't think they can
They just
deal
want
with
the
all
money.
the fuckery now
It's
because
all about
like
money.
the economy's so bad. Like if you look anywhere, there's homeless camps everywhere.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
the police force is X amount, right? Like, there's only so much they can even deal with. And now shit's just run rampant.
That line
with
we're
how
barely
shitty-
holding on is moving up
I
slowly.
just-
so
I feel like
Yeah.
maybe that might make for better fucking house shows.
It really has like bounced back in the past couple years since COVID, and I couldn't believe it. Like I
camp
said,
shows.
when I ran into the fucking one spot,
Bring your generator.
when I ran into the one spot or that one show like relatively recently, and I guess I take that back because I had actually been to a couple on the south side that were pretty poppin', but they seemed more like, I was like, okay, I could see this happening. And then when I went to the one on the east side and it was like fucking 300 people, I was like, this is fucking crazy.
Whoa.
That's nuts.
Yeah. It was like fucking, I couldn't, I was like,
Well,
when,
so, like you're saying, like, fucking back in the day, like, when we did, like, there'd be house shows, and there'd be, like, 300 kids there.
yeah.
It'd
Yeah.
be crazy. There'd be, like,
Yeah.
a ton of kids, and a helicopter would come over, and they'd just tell you all to go home. And then, like, yeah, around the fucking 2000s, they were just, like, we're red tagging.
2010s, I
Yeah.
think. Like,
2010s.
That's when the
You were
red
talking
tags
about
started getting hit.
hit.
Nate No Face like earlier. Like, I remember I was just walking down 6th. And what's that place? Subspace or whatever the fuck? It's
Okay,
like a
yeah.
warehouse or something. Right there on like St. Mary's.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was just walking past, and someone told me, "Oh, fucking Nate No Face is playing." I'm like, "Oh shit, I want to go into that."
Oh yeah, that was like a couple years ago.
Yeah, a couple
Yeah.
years ago.
I was at that show.
And I went up to the fence.
got my ass
Like, it
clocked
was an
at that show.
outside show, so like I didn't really need to get in. They were like, "No, it's capacity, you can't get in." I'm like, "Oh, well, I'm just standing next to a chain link fence, so I'll just watch it anyway."
yeah, that was
Yeah.
recent though. Yeah.
That was like 2 years ago, and that was dope.
Yeah,
I
that
was
was,
at that show.
uh,
I got my ass fucking layered at that show.
yeah, I
I
think,
was standing right next to
who
the
was that?
mosh
Was
pit
that
and
with
some
War Prison?
young kid ran into
I don't
me.
know. I walked
couple-
up as fucking Nate No Face.
Here I go.
Yeah, that was. I think that was the homegirl fucking booked that. I think that might have been Mo's show, but
Oh, really?
yeah,
Yeah,
she's.
that was a fun show. That's where I had the picture with Nate No Face.
that was-
But, like, yeah. I don't know. Back then, I don't know.
All right, let's come on, let's get it together, guys.
Yeah.
All right.
What you got?
Somebody's got to regulate
We're
this.
getting a little older, so we ramble a lot.
You already told me this story 4 times.
It was in 18 Dickety 3.
Full disclosure, I
We-
think this is the first band interview we've ever done.
Good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so,
That's about time, dude.
No, we did one for the Arizona.
Hey, wait, let me try
to.
to get us back on track.
I'll get you back on track. I'm running the fucking interview,
I know, but
Esteban.
I just want to finalize the question that you asked
question?
forever ago.
MFB,
The scene
Fussy
galvanization
Lugs.
before all the fucking Johnification and cliques
Thorsh.
started happening. So it was one of the reasons why I was fucking excited when these guys offered me a position to come in as a guitarist, because I had already been hanging out with these guys forever because we were sharing practice
You can
spaces.
slow down. It's okay.
We were sharing practice spaces.
Faster,
Take
faster,
this bump
harder, more
with my
intense.
band, 8 Days in Waiting at the time, which was very much like a weird ass like goth fucking skate punk
Oh,
band.
yeah. Oh, man.
And we were so fucking weird and quirky and just all fucking fun. And that's pretty much what got me into them. And I took a lot of flack from
Weren't
the
you in
hardcore
Brute
scene
Squad?
at the time. Huh?
Yeah, he was in Brute
Didn't you do
Squad.
Brute Squad?
That was way later.
Oh, okay.
Before Brute Squad, I was in a band that was called Wish You Were Dead. That was like an instant fucking Arizona hardcore takeover band. And in 1 year, we just fucking like made a rep. We annihilated everybody. But then we
That
disbanded.
band
Our
was
lead
sick.
singer like
I saw you guys with
like,
Tragedy. I remember that.
and Curl Up and Die and Shia Lude and
Yeah.
fucking One King Down, Undying, like the amount of bands that like we
Oh,
Yeah,
dude,
like,
I
that
filmed
era,
the
like, the
Undying
bands we
show.
were
I
able
wonder
to
whatever
play with.
happened to that
Yeah.
recording.
So when I left Wish You Were Dead, I took a lot of flack from the fucking hardcore kids because I joined a fun ass fucking gothy fucking skate punk band, and everybody was like,
That was 8 Days
"This
Waiting."
isn't at all
Yeah.
hardcore," because
Yeah.
we were like very Misfit style and fun and upbeat. Like we just enjoyed
Yeah.
the shit out of what we were doing. And a lot of fucking people in the hardcore scene walked away from like any of my music projects that I was doing. So like I had to start over with a completely different like genre type
And that
of
was,
people.
like, our
And a lot of
brother
them
band.
already knew who I was just for hanging around Scrappy's 24/7. But I had to completely like rebuild myself as a musician because I just did a full genre jump because I just wanted to have fucking fun. But after 8 Days in Waiting broke up and these guys were going through shifting guitar positions, I don't know what the fuck made them think of me, but they did.
Well, you were there
was the
every
original
day.
guitarist?
You were there all the time.
Yeah,
Dan left.
we'd see it. So he was in that band 8 Days in Waiting.
Thanks, Dan! So
He was in the band 8
Yeah,
Days
Dan
in
moved,
Waiting.
yeah.
Yeah, that's fun.
But
I'll
I'm just
explain
joking,
it.
dude.
He was in the
I
band
wouldn't
8
trade
Days.
it for anything.
8 Days in Waiting, and that was our practice buddies. Like any band we'd ever been like shared a space with, we kind of like feed off of them. So 8 Days in Waiting was that one.
Did we jump on one of your shows at the Rock? We jumped on and played a song real quick.
Yeah.
Well, I remember there was a point where fucking Line of Fire got like really like AFI.
We had never played the Rock.
Like we were gonna make things sound epic and shit like that, and so we did that. And then like years later, it was same with like Temper's Flare. It was like.